My name is Samuel, and I moved to this apartment building because I was running away from a life that had broken me. I'm 31 years old. I was in a long-term relationship that I thought was leading to marriage. Instead, it led to infidelity, lies, and a betrayal so profound that I spent 2 years afterward convinced I'd never trust anyone again. So I quit my job in a big city, packed my things, and moved to a small neighborhood where nobody knew my story. I got a simple job working in IT support, rented a modest apartment, and committed to the idea that I would rebuild myself in silence and solitude. That plan lasted about 3 months before my neighbor changed everything. Her name is Eliana, and she lived in the apartment directly across from mine. I first noticed her because she had an old oak tree in the shared courtyard between our buildings, and she spent considerable time climbing it. Not in a dangerous way. She was careful and methodical. But she'd sit up in the branches, sometimes reading, sometimes just staring out at the neighborhood. She treated that tree like a sanctuary, like a place where she could think or feel or just exist without judgment. I asked her about it once, casually, when I saw her coming down from the tree one afternoon. "It's peaceful up there," she said simply. "The world feels smaller and less overwhelming when you're above it." I understood that immediately. I understood the need to escape, to get some distance from the weight of everything happening at ground level. Eliana was beautiful in a way that wasn't immediately obvious. She wasn't conventionally pretty in the way society usually frames beauty. She was fuller-figured, she didn't wear makeup, and she dressed practically in jeans and soft sweaters. But there was something about her presence that made you want to keep looking at her. Something about her that suggested depth and kindness and a life being lived authentically. We fell into a rhythm of neighborly friendship. We'd see each other getting mail, and we'd chat. We'd both be in the courtyard at the same time, and we'd sit on the bench near the tree and talk about nothing important. The weather, what we'd had for dinner, observations about the neighborhood. It was gentle and uncomplicated in a way that my life hadn't been in years. About 4 months into this neighborly friendship, I asked her what she was running from. We were sitting on the bench, watching the late afternoon light filter through the tree's leaves, and she'd been quieter than usual. "What makes you think I'm running from something?" she asked. "Because I recognize it," I said. "The way you climb that tree. The way you seem to need distance from the world. I recognize it because I'm doing the same thing." Eliana was quiet for a long moment. "I was married," she said finally, "for 6 years. And my husband made it very clear, in 1,000 small ways, that he wasn't attracted to me. That my body was something he tolerated but didn't desire. He'd make comments about what I ate, what I wore, how I looked. Nothing was ever explicitly cruel, but it was constant. It was like living with someone who saw you as a before picture in a weight loss advertisement." She paused, and I could see her gathering strength to continue. "When I finally left him, I thought I'd feel free. But instead, I felt broken. I felt like maybe he was right. Maybe my body was something that was fundamentally unlovable. So I stopped trying to be attractive to anyone. I stopped trying to fit into what I thought men wanted. And I climbed trees and read books and tried to convince myself that I didn't need anyone." I took her hand. "He was wrong," I said. "Everything he made you feel was wrong. But I understand why you'd believe him. People who hurt us leave imprints. They make us believe their lies." "What are you running from?" she asked me. So I told her. I told her about the relationship, the betrayal, the way I'd convinced myself that I couldn't trust anyone ever again. I told her about moving here to be alone, about thinking solitude was the answer to heartbreak. "It's not working," I admitted. "I thought it would. But I'm just as lonely here as I was there." Eliana squeezed my hand. "Maybe lonely doesn't get solved by being alone," she said. "Maybe it gets solved by being seen by someone who understands." A week later, Eliana invited me to climb the tree with her. "I want to show you what it feels like," she said. "To be above it all. To get some perspective." I'd never been a tree climber. I was terrified of heights, actually. But I trusted her. So I followed her up into the branches, carefully, slowly, until we were sitting side by side about 10 feet off the ground, looking out at the neighborhood. It was peaceful. She was right about that. The world did feel smaller from up there. More manageable. "I'm scared of heights," I admitted. I know, she said. That's why I wanted you to do this. Fear is just something we climb through. We sat there until the sun was setting, and then she said something that changed everything. I'm going to jump, she said matter-of-factly. And I'm going to need you to catch me. I looked at her, confused. What? No. Absolutely not. That's not safe. It's perfectly safe, she said. I've done it 100 times. I jump, I land, I get back up. It's actually exhilarating. Eliana. You said you wanted to understand what it was like to be seen by someone who understands, she interrupted. Well, this is it. This is me showing you what trust looks like. I'm going to jump, and you're going to catch me, and we're going to prove to ourselves that we're not alone. Before I could protest further, she positioned herself at the edge of the branch. She looked at me, and there was such vulnerability in her expression that I understood what she was really asking. She wasn't asking me to catch her body. She was asking me to catch her heart. Jump, I said, understanding finally. I'll catch you. Trust me. She jumped. For 1 second, she was falling through the air. And I moved without thinking, positioning myself to catch her. She landed in my arms, and I stumbled backward, but I didn't drop her. I held her. She was laughing and crying at the same time. That was terrifying, she said, still in my arms. You said you've done it 100 times, I said, my heart still racing. I have, she said. But I've never done it with someone catching me. I've never trusted anyone enough to fall toward them instead of toward the ground. I set her down gently, but I didn't let go of her hand. Thank you, she said. For what? For being here. For understanding. For catching me. That night, I kissed her for the first time. Not passionately, but tenderly. A kiss that said I understood what she'd just asked of me. A kiss that said I was willing to be caught too. We took things slowly after that. Very slowly. We held hands before we kissed. We kissed before we touched. We built something on the foundation of trust and understanding rather than passion. Eliana introduced me to her family, who had been so worried about her after her divorce. I told her about my family, about the relationship that had broken me. We talked about our bodies without judgment. She told me all the things her ex-husband had said, and I told her they were lies. She believed me, slowly, gradually, as my actions consistently showed her that I saw her as beautiful and desirable and worthy of love. 6 months after that first jump, we were sitting on the bench by the tree, and she said something that made me cry. I used to think my body was a problem, she said. Something that needed to be fixed or hidden or apologized for. But being with you has shown me that my body is just a body. It's the vessel that carries me through the world. And it's strong enough to jump from trees and land safely. And it's worthy of being loved. You've always been worthy, I said. I know that now, she said. But I needed someone to show me. 2 years after we met, I proposed. I did it at the tree, naturally. I positioned her in the branches where she felt safe and peaceful, and I got down on one knee and asked her to marry me. Use both hands, she said with a smile, referencing that first jump we'd done together. What? I asked, confused. When you're catching me, she said. Use both hands. Use everything you have. Don't hold back. I'm not catching you, I said. I'm asking you to marry me. I know, she said. But I want to be caught. I want to be held with both hands. I want to be chosen completely. Then yes, I said. I will catch you with both hands. For the rest of my life. She said yes while laughing and crying, just like she had when she jumped from the tree for the first time. 3 years after we met, Eliana and I stood in front of our families and got married in the courtyard, with the old oak tree as our witness. We didn't plan some elaborate ceremony. We just invited the people we loved, and we stood under that tree and made promises to each other. I promised to catch her when she fell. She promised to jump toward me instead of away from me. Neither of us is perfect. We still have moments where our pasts threaten to pull us back into old patterns. But we've learned something important together. Trust isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up. It's about catching someone even when you're scared. It's about jumping even when you're terrified. 5 years after I moved into that apartment building to escape my life, I realized I hadn't escaped anything. I just found the person I was supposed to find. The person who understood that healing isn't about being alone. It's about being truly seen by someone who loves all of you, not despite your flaws or your body or your past, but including all of it. On our 5th wedding anniversary, we climbed that tree one more time. Remember when you were scared of heights? Eliana asked, sitting beside me in the branches. I still am, I said. But I'm more scared of being without you. Then jump, she said. I'll catch you. And I did. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more heartfelt tales, and drop a comment letting us know where you're listening from. We'd love to hear your thoughts and connect with you. Thanks for being part of the Unscripted Stories community.